Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Online and welcome to daily current affairs session. As yesterday was a Sunday, we will be covering 2 days current affairs, that is yesterday's as well as today's, right? So let's see what are all the articles that we are going to cover today. Digital Bharat Nidhi. So this is a scheme, right? Schemes and policies. This can comes under the schemes and policies, which we usually consider as part of the governance, right? Schemes and policies. Next one, Hepatitis A. So this is a disease which is part of science and technology. Then comes the abortion law in India. So this is part of social issues. So very important article you need to know from the social issues part. Then Joravar. So it is a tank, right? So it is a military tank which is part of our defense. Next one, Project Pari. Pari means Public Art of India. So this is part of culture. This is part of our culture topic. Then Rath Yatra, again part of culture. So we have two articles from culture today. A very important article from culture. Next one, Gallantry Awards, again part of defense, right? So earlier we were not covering too much of defense and all, but now the exams are asking about the defense also. So whatever the defense article, including the sports, whichever are relevant, we are taking care, right? So these are all the articles that we are going to cover today. I hope my voice, video, everything is fine. Very good evening to Srinath, Keshav and Malini. Yeah. So let's start with the first article, that is Digital Bharat Nidhi. Digital Bharat Nidhi. The context is, within the context itself, we are having one important fact. The Department of Telecommunication under Ministry of Communication has drafted a rule, the new rules to operationalize Digital Bharat Nidhi. So the new initiative is going to be launched soon in the coming days. So there was an article in the Hindu about Digital Bharat Nidhi, right? So this is going to replace Universal Service Obligation Fund. That means there was already a fund or a scheme which was created by this Telecom Ministry. To replace this, the Ministry of Communication is going to launch the Digital Bharat Nidhi, right? So what we need to learn from this article, you need to know about Universal Service Obligation Fund, what is the purpose, why it was launched and all. Then you also need to know about Digital Bharat Nidhi and then why it is being replaced. So these are the things that we need to cover from this article, right? So now let's start with Universal Service Obligation Fund, right? So they may also ask you simply the term also, and then they will ask you related to what. Now, this is a statutory scheme or statutory setup. That means anything which is implemented through Parliament Act, those are called as a statutory initiatives. So this fund was created by including a statutory provision under Indian Telegraph Act, a very, very important one to be remembered. This is a statutory scheme or statutory fund created under Indian Telegraph Act 1885. So even British related acts, still we are following it with some modifications and all. So this was created under this act only in 2003. So way back 2003 it was created. So more than 20 years back this scheme was created, right? Now, what is the purpose of it? The purpose is to implement the telecommunication services in the rural and untouched areas. So you all know that internet and all is very easily available in the urban areas. So if you go into the rural areas, your phone even won't get connection properly. So it will go to 2G also, some regions in the rural setup. So they are still reaching the 2G itself. So to address these challenges, to penetrate, to make these telecom services to reach out to the rural areas and untouched areas, this fund was created. So the objective is to reach out to the untouched areas to provide all the telecommunication services, especially of rural areas, right? So this is nothing but a fund, a corpus of fund. Now, how this fund will be created? There is no separate budgetary allocation. So usually if there is a scheme, some 100 crore, 200 crore, government will allocate through the budget itself. But this is not created from budget or allocated from budget. Rather, it was collected from the profits earned by the service providers. So we have Jio, we have Airtel, we have Vodafone, right? So these are the telecom services, even the BSNL as well. So whatever the telecom services are there, from those profits, whatever the profits that they are getting, from those revenues, 5% is collected from the telecommunication services, right? So this fund is not of government budget, rather collecting from the telecommunication service itself, like Jio. 5% of the total profits has to be given to this fund. Now, whatever the fund that was created, it can be 10 crore, it can be 100 crore, it can be 1000 crore, based on the profits of those companies. So whatever the funds that were levied, I mean, it is like a tax, right? Though it is not clearly named as tax, it is a fees or levied by the government on the profits of the telecommunication service. It is known as Universal Service Levy. It was collected under the name of Universal Service Levy. So they may also ask you in the exam, what is Universal Service Levy, right? Sometimes mentioned in news. It is nothing but the 5% revenue collected from the telecommunication services to create or to implement the Universal Service Obligation Fund, right? From this fund, whatever the amount collected will be spent on the untouched areas by creating the telecommunication service or internet providing. All those things are created from this fund. Now, who will be heading this fund? This fund is headed by an administrator who is appointed by the central government. So it is an executive appointment, right? Government can appoint anyone. So this is the person who will be heading this. And this Universal Service Obligation Fund is an attached office under Department of Telecommunication, right? So this is a fund. They are going to create a separate office for that, right? And then they are going to implement it through the Ministry of Communication. So for this purpose, the Universal Service Obligation Fund is being implemented. Now, what is the criticism? Why they are changing it to Digital Bharat Fund? So why they are changing? Because there were certain criticisms, there are certain lackings in this particular Universal Service Obligation Fund. That's why they are shifting. So before seeing Digital Bharat Fund or Nidhi, let's see what is the criticism of it. The total amount collected, the 5% from the telecommunication services that was collected amounted to 41,740 crore. This is the total amount that was collected between 2017 and 2022. But out of that, only 11,000 crore was utilized and 30,213 crore was unutilized. So it was not utilized at all. It was, the fund was separately created and kept aside. So this is one of the criticism, right? That the funds are not being used properly. Similarly, inconsistent utilization rates was noted, that some funds actually 5% has to be collected, but from some services it was 4%, 3%. So inconsistency was there to collect the funds. So now they are legalizing for the standard ones. For that purpose, they are launching Digital Bharat Nidhi. So it is a fund being replaced with the Universal Service Obligation Fund. Just they have changed the names and some policies as well. So this contribution again will be collected from the telecommunication companies itself. Whatever the companies are there, they are going to collect these from the companies itself, right? And then the fund is being collected under the Consolidated Fund of India. So we have three funds within our constitution: Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, Public Fund of India, right? So these funds, whatever they are going to collect, will go and come under the Consolidated Fund of India. Then it will be transferred to the Digital Bharat Nidhi. Earlier it was collected as a separate corpus, but now it is being collected as part of the Consolidated Fund of India itself, so that it will be used properly, right? So then it will be transferred to the Digital Bharat Nidhi rather than directly allocating to that, right? It aims to promote telecommunication services like internet, telephone, whatever the telecommunication services are there, all those things will be implemented in rural areas and untouched areas, including the urban area. So if urban area is untouched one, then this will be implemented. Next generation technology like 5G, right? Proper internet, all those things will be covered under the Digital Bharat Nidhi. The funds will be allocated in the expansion of networks, research and development in telecommunication, pilot projects, introduction of new telecommunication services, whatever, all those things going to be implemented through this scheme, right? Any doubts in this? Ranjan, yes, the classes schedule is slightly changed because I'm having the offline class till 5:30, so 5:20. After that, I'm taking the online classes. So because of the schedule issues, so it was changed to 5:30. Okay, but anyway, the content, all those things will not be affected. Fine. So that is about the digital Bharat Nidhi. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? I hope that is clear. Fine. Let's move to the next article, that is Hepatitis A. Hepatitis A. The context is, again, this article was taken from yesterday, the Sunday's newspaper from the Hindu, that Hepatitis A vaccination will be cost effective in Kerala, unlike other regions. So it was, the study proved that this Hepatitis A vaccine can be implemented in Kerala with a proper cost effectiveness. You can save a lot of things. So that was the article. But let's know about what actually is a hepatitis. Hepatitis is a disease that causes inflammation of liver. So inflammation means anything swollen, right, or reddish color. So all that is called as a inflammation. Usually inflammation of skin is very rare, right? If something happens, if some fever and all comes, it usually inflammates on the skin. And even if there is an injury, it also inflammates the skin. So inflammation is nothing but the swallowness in any part of the body. But this hepatitis causes the inflammation in liver. Fine. So a little confusion. So it is liver, not river. Fine. So inflammation in liver is the disease that causes the hepatitis, right? So this is the most affected part, and almost this particular virus, which is family belong to the hepatotrophic. Hepatotrophic means those viruses which can cause diseases directly on the liver, right? So this is the viral disease. Again, this is not bacteria or protozoa. It is a viral disease caused by hepatotrophic virus in the part of liver, right? So these were categorized into hepatitis A, B, C, D and E. So this virus itself categorized into A, B, C, D, E. Based on that, the disease name also is renamed. Hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. So based on those virus itself, we are coming different names, right? Now, there are different types of hepatitis. We have just seen, right? Now you need to know about the transmission of hepatitis A. There was a question also, we will see at the end. UPSC civil service question was there, right? So transmission, prevention, treatment. So you need to know all these things for all the hepatitis. So that's how the questions can be framed. So let's see how about the hepatitis A. Hepatitis A is transmitted through consumption of food or drinking contaminated water. So these viruses can stay in the contaminated food and contaminated water, and then they can transmit to the liver after consumption, right? So this is the transmission method for hepatitis A. And then prevention, to have a proper hygiene, good food, right, cooked food, and also there is a vaccine for it. A very important point is that for hepatitis A, we have a vaccine. We can prevent the disease, right? And treatment, there is no treatment. If once it is occurred, then it is difficult to treat. There is no treatment, but we do have vaccine. So now the slogan, prevention is better than cure, is a very much relevant for the hepatitis A. Next one, hepatitis B. This is transmitted through contact with the blood or fluids of the infected person. If there is an infection of hepatitis to any person, so they can transmit to the person, other person, right? So it is like a communication disease. Hepatitis B is a communicable disease. This is based on, of course, this is also occurred through contamination of food or drinking water, but also can transfer from one person to other person, unlike the hepatitis A, right? Now, yes, good hygiene and then blood screening before transferring the blood from one person to other person. Blood screening should happen because that can lead to the spread of disease. And also we have a vaccine for hepatitis B. So we have vaccine for both hepatitis A and hepatitis B. And fortunately for hepatitis B, we have the medication also. Alpha interferon is the medicine that can cure the hepatitis B. Similarly, peg interferon, right? Interferon. So these are the two medications that are available for the hepatitis C. Very important fact. Now comes the hepatitis C. they are again blood-to-blood contact transmitted hepatitis C, good hygiene and avoiding the blood transfusion, and there is no vaccine. This is a very dangerous one, that we don't have vaccine for the hepatitis C. We have vaccine for hepatitis A and hepatitis B, right? And yes, we have also drugs for it. We have the drugs for it, direct acting antiviral drugs, medications are available for hepatitis C. Hepatitis D, this is spread through infected blood, right? So vaccine is available. The same hepatitis B vaccine can be used to cure the hepatitis D, right? So avoid the sharing of needles, transfusion of blood and all, and medication is also available. So for hepatitis D, we have both medication as well as vaccination. And finally, hepatitis E, it is occurred through contaminated water, consumption of food and water, then practice of good hygiene, all those things are the safe. There is no treatment, also no vaccine. So for hepatitis E and hepatitis C, we don't have vaccine, right? Hepatitis is more dangerous because you don't have vaccine as well as the medication. So these are all varieties you need to remember, a very important fact which will be asked in the exam, right? Very good evening, SV. Welcome to the session. Now, we have a report related to the Global Hepatitis Report 2024 released by World Health Organization. So according to this report, most countries which are affected are Bangladesh, China, Ethiopia, India, Indonesia, Nigeria, Pakistan. So these are the countries which are highly affected. So 2/3 of all the hepatitis disease are being noted in these particular countries, right? And hepatitis is the second largest disease affecting the people after tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is the most impacted disease which is prevalent in the people, right? And this is the second one after tuberculosis. Among the hepatitis A, B, C, D, E viruses, 83% of cases are reported by hepatitis B. Very important fact to be remembered. Which hepatitis variety is the most affected one? That is hepatitis B with 83% of cases, then followed by hepatitis C. Alright, so hepatitis C has 17%. See, hepatitis B has a vaccination, but still it is prevalent in the 83%. So what is the solution? The solution is to make vaccine penetrated for the most of the people. That is the solution. So we already know the solution, but still we are not able to tackle it, right? Now it is the time for us to penetrate the vaccination. Half of the burden chronic hepatitis happens from B and C infection is among the age population of 30 to 50. So most of the cases are being reported from 30 to 54 years old, right? So men are accounted for most number of cases, that is 58% of the cases are reported from men, right? So this is about the hepatitis varieties of whatever the diseases. Now the case of Kerala. That article talks about actually the Kerala only. They did not talk about all the hepatitis, but yes, you are required to know about those things. That's why we are adding. Now let's see what the article says about the Kerala. The article says that the hepatitis A infection in Kerala is being shifted from children to the adolescents. Usually the hepatitis A affects the children, right? But now this is being shifted to the adolescents. That means the people whose age is above 18. For that purpose, the +1 study suggests that we need to penetrate the vaccination for hepatitis A, right? So for hepatitis A also we have vaccination. For only hepatitis C and hepatitis E we don't have vaccination. So it is suggested that we need to provide vaccination for aged above 15, right? So that is what the article says. Fine. But the most important thing is you need to know about what actually is hepatitis, what type of the varieties, for which disease they are vaccine, there is no vaccine, all these things are important. Any doubts in this? Let's move to the next article, that is abortion laws in India. Abortion laws in India, right? The context is why we are taken this article. This is also taken from Hindu itself. The Delhi High Court allowed the termination of pregnancy for a woman whose pregnancy period is, or whose the age of the pregnancy is more than 30 weeks. Usually more than 20 weeks pregnancy are safe in terms of delivery and all. most of the things will be recognized before the 20 weeks itself. But after 20 weeks also, there are rare cases where they are detected with some discrepancies in the child inside the womb, right? So it was noted that this child was having some neurological disorders. Some neurological disorder. Neurological means brain related. So some brain related disorders were prevalent within the child inside the womb. So that's why Delhi High Court was allowed. Before 20 weeks it usually granted if something happens. So there is less amount of permission required and all for abortion of the pregnancy. But it is after 20 weeks, that's why it is difficult. But still Delhi High Court has allowed. Now let's see what is the regulation of abortion in case of India. It is regulated under Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971. So the case of abortions in India were dealt under the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971 as amended in 2022. There was also amendment in increasing the cases and all. Now, up to 20 weeks, if the pregnancy or the abortion or pregnancy termination or abortion has to happen, then it can be done on the advice of one doctor. If one doctor says that there is a requirement of termination of pregnancy before 20 weeks, right, it can be allowed. So a simple doctor sign assent is allowed to take care or to terminate the pregnancy. So this is the condition for 20 weeks only. But if the pregnancy age is beyond 20 and up to 24 weeks, and up to 24 weeks of the pregnancy that was to be terminated, then this has to be taken permission from two registered doctors. So two registered doctors has to be give the assent, right? So between 20 to 24 weeks. Now, also there are reasons under section 3B of Medical Termination Act that only those persons who are the case of rape, so if there is a forceful pregnancy or case of minors sexual assault or women with disabilities or change in marital status. So if a woman has already married but after the pregnancy there may be a divorce. In all these cases the doctors can allow or there is a legally granted that a woman can disallow her pregnancy. So these are the conditions under section B of Indian Medical Termination Pregnancy Act, Maternity Act, right? Now after 24 weeks, if the pregnancy want to be terminated after 24 weeks, then a medical board has to be set up. Not only about the doctor's permission, but a board, a group of doctors will come together and then they will estimate the status of the pregnancy, and only if the board is approved, then only the pregnancy will be terminated, right? So those are the conditions. Many times like social issues based questions are asked from this particular act, right? Fine. So this is about the third article. Now comes the fourth article, that is Joravar or Joravar. Fine. So Joravar was a new indigenous light tank that was released by the DRDO, right? So this is also again taken from the Hindu itself in the yesterday's newspaper, that the DRDO has unveiled the new light tank. New light tank. What is tank? Tank is a physical instrument which can throw the bombs. In movies also we used to see, especially in the medieval times, the Portuguese Europeans has used it widely. So the bombs, it can fire the bombs for the longer distances. Those are called as the tanks. Now they may also ask you in the exam, what is Joravar launched by DRDO in recent times? So they may give options like submarines, tanks, missiles, all those things. Remember, this is a tank, right? And some popular features. This is developed by DRDO along with the support of L&T, Larsen and Toubro, right? So L&T and DRDO together has developed this tank. That is one important fact to be remembered. And it was designed to operate in extreme weather and high altitude conditions. That means it can work in very low temperatures and very high temperatures in Rajasthan during summers or in the Ladakh regions during the winter. So it can be worked in the, because most of the machines will not work in the extreme conditions. The engines won't work. But this one was designed to adopt the extreme conditions as well as high altitude regions. That means it can also work in the high mountain regions. Fine. And the engine of this tank was fitted with Cummins engine. Cummins is a private company. So Cummins engine was included in this particular tank. Very short article, very factual article, you need to remember. Hello Santi, welcome to the session. Now let's move to the next article, that is about Project Pari. Okay, Pari means Public Art of India. Pari means Public Art of India. So Project Pari was launched by Ministry of Culture. Recently, UNESCO World Committee meeting, UNESCO 46th World Heritage Committee meeting was happening in New Delhi. This is also important fact, right? So this is also important fact that may be asked in the exam, right? So recently 46th World Heritage Committee meeting is happening in New Delhi, Bharat Mandapa. On the sidelines of this, Ministry of Culture has initiated Project Pari, Public Art of India. Now, what is the objective? It was initiated by Ministry of Culture along with Lalita Kala Academy and National Gallery Modern Art. So these two organizations were also involved along with the Ministry of Culture in launching it. Now, for what purposes? This is a workshop or an event where all the Ashokas of public art inspired by India's rich architect heritage, like paintings, music, literary things, all those things will be displayed. Now, people will able to know what has happened in the history, what type of paintings are available, what type of literature is available. So it is like a workshop or a showcase event launched by the Ministry of Culture to promote the Indian culture among the not only Indians but also among the foreigners, right? So it seeks to democratize the transformation of galleries and also everyone will become to know about the literary things. Over 150 visual artists will be participating in this event, right? So it can be music, it can be literature. So 150 artists are being part of this. Wall paintings, murals, sculptures, installations, everything will be displayed. And also to promote this event, they have come up with the Project Pari hashtag in the social media. So people can take selfies and then promote this, right? So that is the objective of this initiative. A very simple article and factual article again. Any doubts in this? Okay, let's move to the next article, that is Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra. The context is this was taken from Press Information Bureau. Our Honorable President Draupadi Murmuji has participated in the Rath Yatra festival in the Puri, Odisha. So where it happens, all those things are also very popular questions asked in the exam. Now, what is this Rath Yatra? Rath Yatra is a chariot festival. You all know, even in our villages also, we pull the Rath Yatra, the chariots, right, during some festivals. Many of the villages also has that. But yes, this is a chariot festival and is the largest chariot festival. So this is the largest, means in the terms of population people who attend this event. So this is the largest chariot pulling event in the world, not only in India, right? And this festival dates back to 12th century AD. That means it is more than 800 years back, right? Where it happens in the Jagannath temple. So this Rath Yatra happens at the Jagannath temple in Puri. This temple was built by King Anantavarman Chodganga Deva. So he belongs to the Ganga dynasty. They may also ask you this in the exam. So present Jagannath temple was built by Anantavarman Chodganga Deva. He belongs to the Ganga dynasty, right? And it is considered as the oldest and the largest chariot festival. So it is not only the largest, but the oldest chariot festival in the world. Fine. Now, what will happen during this event? That is also important for us. So they may also ask you the questions related to this. Jagannatha is a form of Lord Vishnu. So we have two main divisions, Vaishnavites and Shaivites, right? So Jagannath is a form of Krishna or Vishnu form, right? There are three main deities in this temple, Jagannath temple, that is Lord Jagannatha and his brother Balabhadra and his sister Subhadra. So this type of statements are also asked in the exam as part of Indian culture. You need to know them, right? You cannot skip them. So three deities are there in this Jagannath temple, and all these three deities will be kept under the chariots, kept in the chariots, and then they pull, right? This was celebrated on the Ashadha Masa, Ashadha calendar of Indian calendar, which comes in June and July in the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian means English calendar, right? So in this there are 3 deities, and these were pulled in the chariots for 3 kilometers to reach Gundicha temple. There is a Gundicha temple where it is believed that these 3 gods were actually came first in this area, that is Gundicha temple. So from Jagannath temple till 3 kilometers, this was pulled to reach out to Gundicha, and then Gundicha temple, it will be there for 9 days. So these deities were kept in Gundicha temple for 9 days, and then they were celebrated with a lot of rituals and all. After that, they will again drag back or pulled back to the main temple. So this is the process what happens in the Rath Yatra. Fine. Now about the Puri Jagannath temple also, sometimes questions may be asked in the exam. This temple is Hindu temple dedicated to Jagannath, the Vishnu form, right? And the temple is also known as White Pagoda. Don't confuse with Black Pagoda. Black Pagoda is also the name of Konark temple in the Sun Temple Konark in Odisha itself. This temple is called as White Pagoda because it is made of white. And then Puri is part of Chardham pilgrimage. So there is a Chardham, that means 4 connecting pilgrimage sites. Badrinath in Uttarakhand, Dwarka in Gujarat, Puri in Odisha, Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu. So these 4 together are called as Chardham pilgrimage sites. Usually it is believed that Hindus has to travel all these 4 regions before they die, right? This temple is built through the Kalinga style of architecture. So it is not a Dravidiya style, rather it is not a Nagara style. It is a combination of these things, right? Majorly tilted towards the Nagara architecture. Anyway, that is uniquely called as Kalinga style of architecture, right? And it is an enclosed wall with 4 carved gates are also present here. Fine. So that is about the Rath Yatra and then Jagannath temple as well, right? Very important fact to be remembered. White pagoda means it is a color, Santi, like the stone that was used were white in color. Whereas in Sun Temple Konark, we have used the black, so that's why it is called as a black pagoda. Because of the stone we use there, it is called as white pagoda. Correct, Santi? Yeah. Let's move to the last article for today, that is Gallantry Awards. A very, very important article, especially for those exams who are writing railways and then defense related exams, NDA, CDS, all those things. It is a very important. Even state PSCs frequently ask this Gallantry Awards, right? The context why we are discussing this is recently Honorable President Draupadi Murmuji has conferred Kirti Chakras and Shaurya Chakras to personals from uniform services, right? We will see what are Kirti Chakra and Shaurya Chakra. No need to worry. We will discuss that and we will come back to the context. You will understand it, right? Now, what are Gallantry Awards? What are these actually Gallantry Awards? Gallantry Awards are instituted to recognize the honor of bravery and sacrifice of the uniform services. It can be of any state police, central police, right? Armed forces, military, army, military, army, same, Air Force and Navy as well. So they are given to recognize the bravery and sacrifice of the uniform services, right? And they were announced twice in the year. It is not just once. This is also important fact. They are announced twice in a year. First on the occasion of Republic Day and again on the occasion of Independence Day. So they are released twice in every 2 years. Now comes the categories. Gallantry Awards are categorized into 2. Gallantry Awards are categorized into 2 types. One is gallantry in face of enemy. That means who has fought directly with the enemy. Those are called as the gallantry in face of enemy. So who is fighting with, for example, Gallantry Awards were given to recently 2020 Chinese fight of Indian soldiers, right? So those who fight directly with the enemy. So that is one type of category. Second category is gallantry other than face of enemy. So even without face of enemy, so the armed forces are contributed in terms of peace or launching the bombs, right? So this can also happen not in face of enemy but on the behind of the scenes. So these are the 2 categories of awards given for the armed forces. Now Again, this gallantry in face of enemy and gallantry other than in face of enemy, that is behind the scenes, those are again sub-categorized. Gallantry in the face of enemy are categorized into 3 awards, that is Paramveer Chakra, highest one, highest category within the face of enemy. This is considered the most privileged recognition in the defense forces. Paramveer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra and Veer Chakra. So these are the 3 categories which were given in the face of enemy. And then gallantry other than face of the enemy. Ashok Chakra, Kirti Chakra, Shaurya Chakra. So these were given those who works for uniform services but behind the scenes, right? So these are the sub-categorization of face of enemy and other than face of enemy. Now about the history of awards. These were instituted first on 26th January 1950. So this launched year is a very, very important for you to be remembered. So it was launched way back in 1950. Then other than 3 gallantry awards, which were Ashok Chakra and then Shaurya Chakra and then Kirti Chakra, right? Kirti Chakra and Shaurya Chakra was earlier called as Ashok Chakra Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, which was instituted in 1952. So this Veer Chakra, Paramveer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra, Veer Chakra was launched in 1950, but other than face of enemy, it was launched in 1952 with categorization Class 1, Class 2, Class 3. But later this is what you call, like it is a class differences within soldiers. So that's why they named it as a Ashoka Chakra and then Kirti Chakra and Shaurya Chakra in 1967. So names were earlier with Chakra Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, but now it was renamed in 1967. So that is a very important article to be remembered about the gallantry awards. These are only for military awards. We are having the civilians like Padma awards, right? So those are given for the civilians. These are exclusively for military persons only. These are not given for the civilians. Padma awards are given usually to the civilians. Okay, Malini, I hope this is clear. These are exclusive for the military personals, uniformed personals. Right. Now, there are few facts to be remembered. First one, government has made mandatory of ISI mark, Indian Standards Institution mark, given by the BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, for stainless steel and aluminium. So for aluminium and stainless steel, whatever going to be manufactured has to be given with the BIS mark, ISI standard mark is mandatory now, right? Earlier it was voluntary, but now it was mandatory. So you need to remember this. Next one, Ministry of Science and Technology has launched Indo-French Liver and Metabolic Disease Network, Infilmen. So very important one, they will ask you for sure. Infilmen was launched for which purpose and which countries, right? India and France, for liver and metabolic disease network. So to reduce the disease related to the liver and metabolic disorders. So they are going to exchange about the data and then they want to prevent this disease, the penetration of this disease. So that is the objective. Next one, Taskara Panchayat in Kerala. Taskara Panchayat in Kerala has updated its People's Biodiversity Register. A very important and a frequently asked question. People's Biodiversity Registered. These are the books, registers related to the biodiversity at each of the panchayats, right? And this is mandated under Biological Diversity Act 2002. This is mandated under Biological Diversity Act 2022 by the Indian government. So it is a statutory mandated one. So all the panchayat has to prepare where whatever the ecological resources are there, it can be species, it can be plants, it can be animals. So to promote the knowledge among the people that what type of varieties are there in the local area, we need to prepare people biodiversity register for each and every panchayat, right? So that is about the factual pointers. Now let's solve some questions. First question for today. What is the main objective of Universal Service Obligation Fund? First question, what is the main objective of Universal Service Obligation Fund? First one, to regulate telecom services, to regulate all the telecom services, this fund was created. to provide universal access to telecom services in rural and remote areas, to promote international telecommunications, to levy taxes on telecom companies. So for what purpose this fund was launched? Purpose they are asking, the main objective, okay, main objective, for what purpose they have created this fund? Universal Service Obligation Fund. So to regulate the telecom services, no, this fund was not created to regulate them. To promote international telecommunication, so this is also wrong. The main objective is to provide universal access to the rural and remote areas. The telecom service, we have discussed this. The aim is to penetrate the telecom services in the rural and remote areas. This is just a means to collect the fund, but main objective is to serve the untouched areas through these funds. Alright? So answer, even though this seems to be related, but this is not the objective. Rather, this is a process to fill out this fund. The objective is to provide the universal access to telecom services in rural and untouched areas. So that is the answer. I don't know, most of you have answered D, but yes, Keshav has answered it as B, correct. Next one, this was taken from UPSC Civil Services 2019 objective prelims examination. Alright, which of the following statements is not correct? They have asked about the hepatitis, so they are asking to identify the wrong statement. Okay, first one, hepatitis B virus is transmitted much like HIV. Hepatitis B is transmitted much like HIV. So this is the first statement. Hepatitis B, unlike hepatitis C, does not have a vaccine. So they are saying that they don't have the vaccine, hepatitis B, right? They are asking the not correct statement. Globally, the number of people infected by hepatitis B and hepatitis C virus are several times more than infected with HIV. So rather than compared to the HIV disease, hepatitis B and C are having more number of cases, they are saying. Some of those infected with hepatitis B and C virus do not show symptoms for the many years. So this is a generic statement that sometimes they may not show the symptoms for many years. So which one is not correct statement? A little bit difficult question, but yes, we have discussed these things. You have to apply your basic understanding. We got 3 answers, D, C and A, right? Now let's see which one is the not correct statement. Second statement, hepatitis B, unlike hepatitis C, does not have the vaccine, they are saying. We do have vaccine, we have discussed this. For hepatitis C and hepatitis E, we don't have vaccine, but hepatitis B, we have the vaccine. So even if you know about the fact, no need to worry about 3 statements, right? See, hepatitis B, we have a vaccine, right? So they are saying we don't have vaccine. So this is a wrong statement. If you have understood or remember that fact, you could have easily answered. You could have got the 2 marks, right? This question in civil services of 2 marks, right? So this is a not correct statement and hence answer is B. Hepatitis B virus is transmitted much like HIV, only blood transfusions, like how HIV is transmitted. So this is a correct statement. Srinath has answered it as correct. Very good. Answer is B only. Globally, the number of cases of hepatitis B and C is much higher than HIV. We have seen tuberculosis is the highest one, followed by hepatitis C, followed by hepatitis, right? So second statement, third statement is also correct. Some people won't show symptoms for many years. This is also correct. So answer is B because that is a wrong statement. Next question, which of the following Gallantry awards is conferred for the acts of bravery in face of the enemy? So they are asking, out of these 4, which one are given in the category of face of enemy? Ashok Chakra, Paramveer Chakra, Shauri Chakra, Kirti Chakra. What is the answer for this? Let's see. So there are two categorization, on face of enemy, right, and not on the face of enemy. In the face of enemy, we have Paramvir Chakra, right, and then Mahavir Chakra and then Veer Chakra, right, and not on the face of enemy other than we have Ashok Chakra, Kirti Chakra and Shaurya Chakra. So these three are related to the other than face of enemy, and Paramvir Chakra is the highest one which are on the face of the enemy. So answer is B. Who have answered this? Malini has answered, Srinath, Ranjan, all of you have answered it as correct. Next one, which of the following statements about Rath Yatra is not correct? So about the Rath Yatra, which is not correct, they are asking the statement. Let's see the four statements and identify the wrong one. It is considered as the oldest and largest chariot festival in the world. First statement. The festival concludes after 3 days of the chariot processions. This is the second one. The deities are taken to the Gundicha temple located about 3 kilometers from the main Jagannath temple. Rath Yatra is also known as chariot festival. So which one is incorrect statement? This is a little bit easy question, you should answer. So yes, this is also called as chariot festival. So this we have discussed. First one is it is the oldest and the largest chariot festival as well, right? And the third one, the deity are taken to the Gudicha temple. Yes, that's what we have discussed. Approximately 3 kilometers from the Jagannath Yatra. This is also correct. The festival does not conclude in 3 days. It takes 9 days where they will again take back the deities to the main thing. So this is a wrong statement and hence answer is B. Srinath and Ranjan has answered it as correct. The last question for today, which one of the intended outcomes of the project Pari? So we have discussed about the Ministry of Culture. So if we implement this, what will be an expected outcome of this? Building new art museums, enhancing social media presence, enhancing social cohesion and cultural identity, promoting the international art exchanges. So what is the outcome of this? All seems to be correct, but there is a core one. The core element is there. What is the answer for this? It is not aiming to create any new museums, rather it will call the people and promote, democratize the art culture. Enhancing social media presence, no, it is not to promote the social media presence in the museums. Promoting international art exchange, no, there is no art exchanges and all. It is to enhance social cohesion and cultural identity of the art of India, right? So answer is C, and yes, Ranjan, Srinath and Malini has answered this correct. So we have a very good number of facts today. Try to revise them. Last 2 days PDFs were also attached to the concerned videos. You can check it out, and today's will also be uploaded, right? So have a great evening. Thank you.